Alrighty, welcome to the third episode of the Shonen Jump Podcast. As always, I am one of your hosts, Max, and I'm of course joined by my other host.
I'm here.
And today we are joined by a very, very special guest, one of our good friends. You want to introduce yourself?
Oh, hi, I'm Connor. Thank you for designating me as very, very special. I am a good friend of Max and Nick, but I am very uninitiated when it comes to anime, manga, shonen, whatever you would like to refer to it as. I know next to nothing. I have watched very few anime. I've read almost no manga, but I'm here to give an initiate's perspective, if you will.
Perfect. Yeah, so Connor, we've known Connor for a while, but Connor's big into Dragon Ball, so power scaling stuff. we definitely get it.
JoJo freak.
Yeah,
that
JoJo's
is the one series that I can talk about for hours. Yes, Dragon Ball. That is where I started.
And then you're big JoJo's guys, so I think Nick mentioned
Yes.
it, yeah. And then we just recently harassed you into watching Jujutsu Kaisen, and I'd hope you liked it, yeah.
Oh no, it was good peer pressure. It was very very good.
Yeah, so since it released, 2 weeks ago, digitally released, the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie, yesterday, we record on Tuesdays normally, so it would be Monday, we got him to watch it, and then, like, okay, well, why don't we have Connor come on and talk about it for, like, a segment, because I think it'd be really
interesting. Let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, before we start, Connor, do you want to, like, give, like, a little spit, like, who are some of your favorite characters in Jujutsu Kaisen?
What are your favorite characters? Explain the reasons why.
Okay. Well,
My
to start,
apologies.
I think that one of the huge strengths that Jujutsu Kaisen has, again, I have limited experience with shonen, so feel free to contradict me in the comments, but I feel like an immediate strength of Jujutsu Kaisen as opposed to other shonen is that it has a really consistently strong cast of characters. I watched the first season of the show before we came to watching this movie, and I'll say that thankfully there were a lot of very brief appearances from some of my favorite characters. I'll say that I think my favorite character right now is Nanami. Nanamine. He just on the whole is just super level-headed. I think that's really cool to see in a show that's dominated by these really wacky, outlandish, high-energy characters for the most part. And I think he provides a lot of really interesting contrast, coupled with what I thought was one of my favorite character backstories that we've gotten so far in the series. And his curse techniques, I think, are all really interesting. So he is just one of my favorites. Aside from Nanamine, Todo, obviously, and Gojo, I think, are both super hilarious. They've both gotten me to laugh out loud, which I pretty much never do whenever I'm watching a TV show, a movie, anything. So, big ups for that. But those are some of my favorites.
All right.
Good to hear.
That's good to hear, because we did get an appearance. I mean, even though they weren't in Volume 0 originally, we did get appearances from Todo and Nanamine, which was really cool in the movie.
Yeah. A little bit of a backstory.
So, I guess, yeah. So, Connor, what were some of your thoughts on the movie? Like, how well do you think they did it adapting? I mean, what was it like? You hadn't read it, of course, but like around three chapters into like what, probably an hour and a half, hour 45.
Yeah, hour 45 about.
I think it's definitely a difficult challenge because at least from what I think you two had told me, there were some scenes that they had to add. I think, again, it's difficult to pace such a short amount of material out into a feature-length film, but I think they did a really good job with it. I felt like the pacing on the whole was very manageable. Um, we had just a very clearly defined rising action climax. Um, I think it was just a well-structured anime film, especially given that I just think a lot of anime films can struggle with fitting into a feature-length format as opposed to more of an episodic type of storytelling. So I think they did an excellent job here given the material they had to work with.
All right, sweet.
What's your ranking between that and Dragon Ball? Because what is it? You've mainly only seen Dragon Ball anime film.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is it? When it comes to anime films, you've only seen Dragon Ball. I don't think that you've seen like Demon Slayer, but or what is it? Many of the romance ones.
Yeah.
So, like, how would you rank the two comparatively?
Ooh. Okay. What I will
Which
say.
I know that you have like a bit of rose-tinted glasses. We should put that also
Yeah. Well,
in front of that.
What I will say is that the Jujutsu Kaisen movie does a lot more work with characters. And I feel like, again, that is a strength of the film that the anime movies that I have seen do not share with it, is that I think a lot of these anime movies are focused on the first half or even 2/3 of the movie are building up to the action, but any character development that you see, any exposition, any just world building, things that are not of an action-packed nature are there because they're trying to build to the action, which a lot of times I think does not make for a super substantiative experience. But I think that Jujutsu Kaisen, again, kind of contrary to what I have seen, did put a lot more effort into trying to build up characters in a way that I have not really seen done before in that format.
So I wanted to ask, so compared to the actual season 1 of the anime of what you've seen so far, I mean, Yuji and Yuta kind of do have a similar kind of start as a character in similar situations. So what did you think compared to season 1, how the movie did? Because I know, of course, Gege wrote Volume 0 when he was still kind of an up-and-coming mangaka, so he's going to have some issues with writing and stuff and pacing compared to what he worked out in, like, in the anime. But just want to know what you think of the two. Just, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess if I'm going to compare them, like the first few episodes of season 1 as opposed to the movie, I'm going to hone in on the differences between Yuji and Yuta. Because first of all, I think that Yuji is definitely a better protagonist. And I guess one of the main reasons for that is that I'm not a huge fan of the prodigy archetype of protagonist, if that makes sense. Where the protagonist shows up and, they start training, they start learning the power system, and it's like, oh my goodness, we've never seen somebody grow so quickly and, attain this level of power in such a short time. I don't know. I feel like that ultimately makes for kind of a weaker hero's journey if, again, the protagonist just has some sort of latent ability that puts them way ahead of everybody else as soon as they have the time to train and advance that potential a little bit, which I feel is the type of archetype that Yuta falls into, where he ends up being the descendant of a super big-time jujutsu sorcerer, doesn't know it, and he just ends up having this super crazy amount of latent power that even after the movie, I've been told, after he exercises Rika and frees her, that he ends up almost immediately getting back up to the special grade level of sorcerer, just because he's that skilled and that talented. Yuji, by comparison, also has a huge amount of potential and power, but that is because he is slowly eating Sukuna's fingers, and he is a vessel of Sukuna. It's not his own power or his own prodigal nature that is propelling him to the heights that we see him reach in the first season. So that is honestly the main reason why I would say Yuji works better as a protagonist. I just don't like that archetype. I feel like it ultimately hurts the protagonist and the journey they experience. So I think Yuji has the edge over Yuta, definitely, at least in that regard.
That is
It's a very good take.
Well, because I like
the
that.
most critical take that has been taken so far on this entire series.
Exactly, the most controversial. Because there is a big, like, I guess you could say even movement on TikTok and stuff. Because I know you're not on TikTok, Connor, but I know Nick has seen it of like people like, oh, Yuta is a better.
Yuta should have been the protagonist.
Dude,
he should have stayed the protagonist. There's like a.
I'm on the Yuta bandwagon. He's my favorite character, but I'm like, dude, his story, like, yeah, he's still a major part of the manga and the series still, but yeah, his kind of whole arc got wrapped up at the end of Zero, which I kind of like. And something what you talked about the prodigy thing is, I feel like Yuta and Yuji are kind of two different sides of like the classic Shonen Jump tropes of, you know, Yuta is like the prodigy, like the blessed genetics kind of person, like a lot of MCs are. And then I do like that Yuji still kind of has some of those aspects more like, because, you know, a lot of new gen and a lot of anime.
He's actually just blessed genetically. Like, the man's superhuman.
Exactly.
He's like a light ball like 200 meters.
Yeah. And it's not just like he was, you know, had the genetics of like a ton of or I mean, Yuta didn't have like a ton of, he had cursed energy for another reason, but not because of like genetics. But because of like the inner demon trope, and I feel like that's something that Jujutsu Kaisen does really good with the inner demon. How, like, you know, a lot of them, like, I mean, Bleach, and I've heard from Naruto and what is it, like Black Clover, they all, like, the MCs eventually try to work with, like, become friends with their inner demon, and I feel like that's not what's gonna happen, and that's not what's going on in Jujutsu Kaisen. I kind of like it because it's kind of like a flipping the script on that.
Very much the opposite.
Yeah.
It's a different take on on shonen staples.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, I feel like the way that Yuji goes about handling that power and that inner demon that is Sukuna is what makes him a much more compelling protagonist. Because if he wants to tap into the full extent of the power that he has access to, then he has to surrender control to Sukuna. So he has that option to kind of become the OP prodigal, like, I have the king of all curses inside of me. But he doesn't want to do that, and he has to rely a lot on what limited cursed energy he can draw from being Sukuna's vessel, and kind of starting not from the ground up, but definitely his skill floor is a lot lower than Yuta's. So again, that's just why I think he's much more entertaining to follow. I could definitely see why people would think Yuji is annoying. Maybe that's why they would place Yuta in a higher position. You know, they're going to think of him in a loftier way because maybe, you know, he's comes from a more grim, dark backstory. You know, he's just kind of a bleaker person, you know, not super dorky like Yuji is. And I could see that. I would usually be inclined to agree with that kind of thinking, but again, I just think the dynamic between Yuji and Sukuna, like, there's so many more interesting things going on with his character than there are with Yuta, and again, I think that is because of the sort of limited experience that the mangaka had when he was writing that Zero issue. I might have mispronounced a couple words there. Sorry, I'm not really not a certified weeb yet, but that's why I would again value Yuji more as a protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to say that this is just like a testament to Akutami's writing because, like, what is it? Connor is not caught up with the manga. He's very what is it? What's the word? adamant on just like you just like
anime
anime.
only. Yeah.
Do you think that which like is a very fair case behind it? But the fact of just like so he's technically not past what is it, chapter 63,
So
and
yeah,
there's already
he's
like 240 chapters more now,
mm-hmm.
or
140.
like the testament still stays to how their dynamic is just so good.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like he set up this good basis that just keeps working forever and ever through 140 chapters.
Yeah. I mean, especially after like we'll get into it way later, but like after what happened, this week with chapters. So then, Connor, I want to ask. I mean, I was gonna ask if you had any moments you thought were like really funny or you really enjoyed. Then I was like, remember when we watched it? Like there was this scene where it was like Rika giving the engagement ring, and then I just hear Connor go, "She's gonna get hit by a car, isn't she?" And then immediately we all. I don't know why that scene is so funny to like a bunch of like
realize it came so fast.
young adults, but like, oh my gosh, yeah.
Like the scene isn't funny on its own, but what was funny is the fact that she's giving him the engagement ring, like we're gonna be together forever, and I'm like, oh, there's gonna be a car crash scene coming right up, and then I think not even 10 seconds after I said that, you hear. And the comedic timing, it was just too much. We all started laughing out loud. It was perfect.
And then like there's some moments that I was like thinking back to like when I was talking about that last one, like some stuff that like we thought was really funny. Was I remember like the first time you saw the subtitles Ghetto like called like non-sorcerers monkeys, and I remember you immediately did like a Frieza voice, and I'm like,
oh yeah. Again, drawing on my Dragon Ball experience, I'm like, oh my goodness, he's one of these types of villains. Okay,
exactly, yeah. But then like were there any moments? I mean, I'll let you talk about it, but like, any moments you thought you got really hyped, or you really enjoyed in the series? Or not in the series, but just actually just overall, like
all of it.
Season 1 and the movie.
Yeah, so I'll try and hone in on the movie, since that's a little more relevant in terms of what's being released right now. In your
mind as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
next few months.
Definitely, the fight between Ghetto and Yuta was just there was some amazing choreography in there. They really knew what they were doing when they animated that. And then especially you guys had mentioned that I'm really an anime only guy. And I think that is specifically my preference for shonen, because you showed me some of the manga panels from that fight after we had gotten done watching it, and I just think that there were some aspects of the animation and the fight and the choreography that is just very difficult to fully portray through a pen on paper.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was just so wonderfully done. I loved the final struggle. Again, Dragon Ball fan, we love those, between the little sphere with all the curses and Rika's final attack. Just some stunning visuals. I loved that climax. It was really well done.
Mm-hmm. Because I will say, Connor, so Akatami's art style at the start, we showed you, it's very smooth, it's very rough looking, but then he kind of like keeps that more rough look and angular look, but like develops it out later in the manga and looks way better now. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
I'd say like what is it? He tried. It's almost, and I don't know his drawing techniques. It almost seems like he over polished the first few chapters, like with that sort of just like generic anime manga art style, but it's really coming to its own as of like these past, like, what is it? Again, like 40 chapters. It's so much more different from how it was. And even in the anime, I don't know how many seasons it's going to take, but you'll definitely see the difference eventually.
And I mean, it's also like when you have, a great like studio like Mappa animating it too, it's going to look gorgeous no matter what, too. But
yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like there might, like if there's any other questions I have. Nick, do you have any?
Well, my last question would probably be, what are your biggest questions, and what do you want to be solved, and like what's your biggest things that you're either excited for to hopefully eventually see, or just have figured out?
Because we do have season 2 coming out, so you will
We do.
maybe some of those things you will get to see.
So from the movie, I had talked about this with you guys last night, but I want to know why Ghetto survives. Because there's kind of that unresolved scene between him and Gojo at the very end. And obviously Ghetto is still alive and kicking in season 1, so I'm interested to find out what exactly happened there. And then I do want to see Yuta return. Because there are a couple of allusions to him in season 1, and they're all hyping him up to be this super ultra powerful curse user. Well, jujutsu sorcerer rather. But I guess those are the two big things. And I guess I would also be curious about Ghetto's motivation. At least to me, from what I remember, in the movie, he's very adamant about creating a world for jujutsu sorcerers only. Kind of very similar to a Magneto and the X-Men type of deal, where he wants to create a world for only mutants. And it seems like in season 1, he's shifted his position, and he's working directly with curses to seemingly bring down a lot of jujutsu sorcerers as well. So I'm wondering if he still has that goal in the back of his mind, or maybe he is completely fallen away from that idea of keeping jujutsu sorcerers intact, and maybe he has just turned his back on humanity altogether. I'm not sure. And I'm interested to see kind of how that develops in the coming season.
Yeah.
And that's very good.
And
That's
all those things
also
will
going to
get
help us
answered.
transition
Yeah.
into our chapter review, because
Yeah.
it actually tackles some of that motivation. So, but yeah.
So I mean, something like they kind of touch on in the anime is like they say Yuta is like second to Gojo basically, and it's like you got to see some of that in the movie, but it's like that was like pre second year Yuta, like so something happened in between then. Now you'll hopefully get to see within the next season why, or maybe
Also with the exchange event, he was literally the only person that participated from Tokyo and won
by himself, and when Toto's like, oh,
against
why is
the
Kotsu
entire
not
the other
here?
team. Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank
you.
Should that be it? Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
All right, Connor.
Well, I mean, thank you for having me on.
Yeah. All
Of
right.
course. We're gonna have to have you on more.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We'll definitely. I mean, we can even do, if people are interested, like a review of the Dragon Ball movie when that came out.
Oh yeah.
That would be a fun
that'd
one.
be fun to actually watch that with you, Max. I think that'd be very fun.
I watched. So I will preface again. I've said this like every episode. I have never watched an episode of Dragon Ball, and I had gone with them to see what do they call it, superheroes in theaters?
Yeah.
I went to watch it because we had a
Super
friend
Hero.
who lives out of town who came in just to watch it. And I basically went just to go see him, but like I thought it was interesting. I have some takes on it I can say for that, but I know you guys have some big.
We can
big
even
stuff to say.
have the Broly movie. I think that'd be a
Oh
fun
yeah,
one
because
to
you guys
watch
had said that one was a lot better. Because I
that
will
one is
say,
definitely a lot better.
Nick and
Another
I
hot take.
had seen with another friend Jujutsu Kaisen 0 when it came out in theaters, like March? And I will say, we watched it in English, but like I will say, in the theaters it was still a fun experience. It was, I mean, seeing those anime movies, like we saw Demon Slayer in theaters when it came out too, and that was a fun
hype
experience.
with Demon Slayer was so good.
But like the energy for Jujutsu Kaisen felt like it wasn't there for Demon Slayer. Like everyone was cheering in Demon Slayer. I get that, like, you know, when we went and saw Demon Slayer, we had like 12 people in a group singing together. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
So we had
I
a
th-
lot larger of a group, and I'm guessing that could have, been
It could
part
have
of
been
it.
that. I also think that the material in Jujutsu Kaisen, I think no matter what, is just a little bit more darker than like in well, I shouldn't actually spoil it because I don't know if Connor's ever actually gonna watch Demon Slayer, but like there are a few like really rough and like hard parts to watch in Demon Slayer, while like literally in JJK you see a kid's skull get crushed by a Honda Civic.
Exactly.
The
But,
difference is
yeah.
very dramatically different.
But I will say though that, like, the experience of watching it last night with you guys, I kind of enjoyed it a little bit more than the time when we saw it in theaters. I thought it was so much more fun.
It was in
I mean,
theaters.
like, because also you, me, Nick had known what was going on, but it was still like fun. Like the Rika scene with like Connor's like, dude, she's gonna get
No
hit by a
one would
car.
have laughed in the theaters.
No one would have
to just
laughed in the
seeing
theater.
that.
But like when Connor laughed, that was perfect. And like the scenes we had, we were all we were laughing about. And, like there's this like the
Yeah.
scene with the two girls. And he's like, dude, I hate them. They're so annoying and stuff like that.
They need to go.
Yeah. And like when Gojo was fighting Miguel, Connor was like super hyped for that. And like, dude, I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun watching it with you guys. And like, it's something, I mean, like, out to the audience too. Like, you don't have to watch anime all by yourself. It's fun to watch with other people. And I mean,
Please watch it with
yeah.
other
it's a
people.
great way
Yeah,
to
it makes
introduce
it
it to
so
other
much
people
better.
too. Yeah, because then you can
It's
like
a great
laugh
way to
about stuff.
socialize.
Exactly, because then you don't have to do a podcast, but you can just like sit down with everyone afterwards and just like discuss it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Or we'll make you
definitely.
start a podcast.
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah.
we did it.
Become every white guy out there.
Yeah.
But that's
Oh.
definitely one of the medium's greatest strengths, especially for you guys who are out there reading Shonen Jump with the weekly releases. There's always a lot of hubbub about the newest chapter releases, and it's great to go out there and kind of be a part of smaller and larger communities talking about releases, and these new additions to stories that we're really fond of. So please go out there and do that. And
Even if,
if this is the place to start, with our viewership that's getting there, we're getting there.
Yeah.
You know,
It's getting there.
slow and steady.
We're starting from the
I'm
bottom.
grateful for everyone that
yeah,
watches.
exactly. Prayers go out.
But if that's the place to start, listening to people talk about shonen, finding other people to talk about it with potentially, then we hope that that's an avenue through which you can start to do that, because that's definitely the way to be enjoying series like these, is by talking about them with other people.
Exactly. And like something else I want to do eventually is like, if there's another week there's no Jujutsu Kaisen chapter, because I have no experience with Dragon Ball. I'll say it again. I'm a broken record. But Connor, I'd love to have you on again and just give you and Nick like really controversial matchups and have you guys just debate and power scale them. I think that like those kind of power scaling matchups would be really fun. And eventually, as you watch more of Jujutsu Kaisen, we can even do some of those with like different series too and whatnot. But yeah,
I think also another great choice, especially since Chainsaw Man just came out very recently, we
yeah,
could
that
also get
first episode
Connor's
came out today.
opinions
Yeah.
on the few episodes. Yeah. As we're recording it, it literally just came out
Yeah,
today.
it was. Oh my god, peak! I'm
Yeah.
so excited. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Connor, we love having you on. We'd love to. I mean, this is only one first time. We'd
This
love to
was-
have you on
yeah,
again.
but it's
This
very
was so
fun,
much more
yeah.
enjoyable. So, do you have anything else you want to say as like a closing statement?
Well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I've clearly I enjoyed being here. But yeah, that's again my initiate's perspective on things. Glad to be here. I like talking about these things. And yeah, if you ever want to have me back on again, I'd love to. Love talking about this kind of stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. All right, welcome back from that little break.
Welcome
we just
back.
finished
Yeah.
talking with our boy Connor and about Zero. So
Yeah.
now perfect transition. I mean, like literally what Connor ended off talking about
Yeah,
with like
with
what he's
Ghetto's
expecting.
ambitions.
So that's perfect for what we need to talk about today.
Yeah.
I mean, we also have finally Chainsaw Man again. I mean, not
Yes.
finally, but like,
And we're getting
Chainsaw-
another one
yeah.
next week. It's not a 2-week break.
Exactly. And Chainsaw Man, the anime came out today. Did you watch it? The episode?
I did.
Oh,
I
it was
did.
so good too. That.
Okay.
And then
Let's start off with that.
Yeah, with
I'd
Chainsaw Man.
like to
Yeah.
start off with that. Yeah.
Okay.
It was so good. Sorry,
I
my
thought we
mic
were-
maybe a little messed up.
No, you're fine. I thought we were gonna see more of like the don't come to school stuff, but like that was perfect. I think this was a really good chapter, honestly. So I mean,
Yeah.
every
it was a
chapter,
very good
yeah.
setup chapter.
Every good,
Like,
every
what is it?
yeah, every chapter so far of not season 2, part 2 has been like really good. Like we said in like the very first episode of like they're never a miss. They're always a hit.
Yeah. And that being said, this one was definitely a lot more underwhelming for me,
Yeah,
just because it was a setup chapter. So, because like I know the next fight's got to go hard. It's got to be crazy because it's the Justice Devil versus the War Devil. Like it's gonna be fire.
And
But this
yeah.
one, it was just like I don't know. It was kind of just annoying to see what is it? I forgot the War Devil's name. The
They
one
both
that they
start with
give
A's,
it,
I
but like
think,
just basically
yeah.
saying like, "Don't forget this is my body, dumbass."
It's
Have
my
it just-
body too.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
mean,
just gonna sit around and wait until.
and I forgot like
until-
how good the transformations of like the different devils looked. Like the Justice Devil, totally not expecting that. It looks cool.
Yeah,
I like how it looks.
terrifying.
Yeah, and I mean
like
like
that's
with
something
the
straight out of
yeah,
horror.
like the predictability kind of like or like I guess you could say more telekinesis or not telekinesis like would be whatever. Being
Yeah.
able to look in people's minds, the Charles Xavier type stuff is also a really
Yeah.
cool power. That's going to be really cool to see how they're actually Asa or whatever and the War Devil, how they're going to be able to beat Yuko and the
Yeah.
Justice Devil. It's going to be really cool.
I think it's gonna be a real big. Well, I don't know how much this will work as it has like the telekinesis thing, but just switching bodies randomly and it's just
Ooh.
Asa again.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, fuck, I'm about to murder. I'm about to murder Asa. I need to stop. And then it's like turn
Boom.
into weapon.
It's like Boogie Woogie, dude.
Yes, turn them into mortar. Blow up school.
Well, because my thing is like, potentially, can the Justice Devil see us when the War Devil's taking control? Can the Justice Devil see Asa's mind? Because they could switch
Yeah.
and be like, okay, you're gonna do this next, boom, and then okay, well, I don't know what their next movement is, and then boom, switch back, whatever. But like,
Yeah.
it could be really interesting to see.
It's the whole thing of just like it is going to be unpredictable having to mind switch in between the body, just like thinking two different things.
Yeah, and I mean with like how much how the War Devil is like, oh yeah, the stronger relationship you have with someone, and then you kill them, the better of a weapon they'll become. So I'm like, then that means Yuko's gonna become like something goated, probably.
Crazy good weapon
Yeah.
against Chainsaw Man.
And I mean, yeah, and we probably will see Deji come out during this fight. I mean, maybe towards the end or something, but like,
I'd love to see that he just like took a sick day on himself.
that's the
doesn't
one
show
day he
up.
had to
He's like,
take
"I'll
care of
handle it."
the new Control Devil.
Yeah.
But like yeah, she's a flu or something like the
Yeah, she
not
has
all
the flu.
Yeah.
He got it. They're both staying home.
Yeah, so I think we got some pretty good stuff going on with Chainsaw Man. It's pretty good, and with the
Yeah.
anime coming out too, it's gonna.
I'm definitely a lot
yeah.
more excited for the next chapter. I think that the next one is going to be a lot more exciting.
And I think what's also helping with that is this week we don't have to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like I get to see this fight in what's it, even less than 7 days because it comes out on what is it? Oh wait, no, never mind.
It's
I'm
gonna
mixing
come out on
things up.
Tuesday. Yeah, or it'd be.
Yeah, it
a
will
week
come
from
out
today,
Tuesday. I'm just
yeah.
mixing it up with regular weekly Shonen Jump, not
Yeah,
like
'cause
Jump
yeah.
Plus.
Because yeah, I mean yeah, and Shonen Jump this week even put stuff out on Monday, so I was a little
Yeah.
thrown off by that. But I mean, we do get stuff. We'll get stuff this regular Sunday. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Chainsaw Man's gonna be really good. This fight is
Chainsaw
gonna
Man
be
was
insane. Fujimoto is always really
Yes.
good with his fights, so I'm excited.
Yeah. There's always good twists with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And so then what is it? I have no more comments.
I
Also,
know.
what is it? Anime episode, fire. It's It's a lot better than I expected, honestly.
Dude, everyone was like, "Oh, the CGI is gonna be terrible."
Yeah,
No,
people were
it
terrified.
was
I
not.
remember seeing
It was
that.
not bad. It was pretty good,
Yeah.
honestly. And I mean, yeah, there were some parts where I'm like, "Oh yeah, that gives off like 2016 Berserk vibes, like slightly." But I'm like, overall, I'm like, animating
A little bit, but
the
like it
chainsaw,
works.
the actual blades of the chains, or the blades of the chainsaw moving
I
would be
forgot
so hard by hand. So I'm
because
like,
when
that's
you're reading it
perfect.
silently, you forget that chainsaws make noise.
Yeah.
So just like when I'm hearing the motor go off, I'm just like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I hearing this?
And, I mean, it's been what, over like a year or two since probably both of us have read the beginning of Chainsaw Man, so I completely
Yeah.
forgot the beginning.
I've read bits of it again. I've
Yeah.
reread arcs, but like just sitting there and just like being like, oh wow,
You know what we
this is
forgot to
so
talk about
interesting.
Chainsaw Man?
Huh?
You know what we forgot to talk about? I mean, we didn't talk
What?
about the chapter, but just in the minute. How adorable Puccietta is.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
Kuchita
gosh,
is
Puccietta,
so
sorry.
great.
He is.
No, you're all good.
Gosh, he was so cute, dude. I just want to hug him. And how he's like.
Yeah, he was so great, and I loved his little contract. It really messed with me seeing him just like wholesale on Denji. Like I know that he was turning into a
Yeah.
heart, but it looked really weird, and I was just like, what the
But yeah, though this whole episode has been adapted, and I mean I've seen a ton on TikTok people like side by side with the panel and the manga panel and the
Yeah.
scene, and I'm like, perfect. Like I was really hooked.
It's
Like
straight one for
Bleach
one.
was
the
amazing
same.
too this week, but I'm like, okay, Chainsaw Man is getting anime of the year. There's no question about it. Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean, unless like something gets pulled out of something comes out of left field or something.
Yeah,
but like
something out of left field. I have
Chainsaw
no
Man
clue
is
what
going
it
to.
would be
Yeah.
because I think it's just gonna be Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, and did you see all the movie references in the opening? Like,
yeah, all the
I was
movie
very excited
references in
with
the
the
opening.
old dude
Yeah.
doing the Pulp Fiction, and then there's the one of the
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs. There's a
Yeah.
bunch, and then oh my, I forget what movie it is, but the scene of like the when they're bowling and Deji waxing the ball.
Waxing the ball.
That's from. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna look it up right now. I'm sorry. I want to know.
It's all good.
Why? Oh my gosh, what is it?
I was so happy to see Aki in a few of those scenes. It made me so happy just seeing him. It made me so sad at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just like this man, my man's gone.
Oh my gosh. Oh my. I'm sorry. I'm like. I remember I had it somewhere on TikTok. I should have been prepared for that. I mean, how could I be prepared? Where is it?
Also, just add it in post when you remember.
Yeah. Whatever. I'll whatever. We'll skip over it and I'll remember it next
We'll
week.
find it. Yeah.
But yeah, Chainsaw Man, both the first episode of the anime and chapter, what is it, like 9 or something at this point, has been
Yeah.
very good so far. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're high hopes. The bar has been set on both of these, I
Yeah.
would say, for the upcoming parts in both of them. So then
Yeah.
I think even though we were thinking about doing, you want to do My Hero next?
I mean, we could do My Hero. Well, what is it? If we do My Hero, I want to get through it quickly. Like, it was a good chapter, but it
Yeah.
really, like, I didn't really have much care for it because it was literally just continuing on from the last fight of just
Yeah.
like, okay, we're diving into it right now. It was really, it was really good panels. It was very good. I really liked learning more about the gear shift quirk where you negate inertia, which was so hard to wrap my head around, like being able to stop without any force, like
Yeah.
without inertia being in play. That's so weird to think about.
And yeah, I will say I'm gonna apologize for last time. I did talk over Nick when he was talking about like how the gear works. So I mean,
It's all good.
Yeah.
We're still figuring this out.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But yeah, I mean,
So,
basically,
but
it's just like the
good
gears of a
that
car.
they're continuing it up.
But
Now
yeah.
we're just talking it.
Yeah, but I really, yeah, this chapter was good. There was some more beautiful paneling. I mean, and then just more of like, I love how like how smart Deku is in a fight of just using all the different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, all
yeah,
the quirks at once.
Yeah, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna use this one to do this, and then I'm gonna disappear with the smoke screen or whatever. So, it is really
Yeah.
cool to see him, and I mean, like, it looks like Shigaraki's not done, but at the same time, at first when I was reading, I'm like, okay, he's on his last.
He's out. He's out for the
There's
count.
no way he's gonna be able to do anything else. But I'm like, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All for One or whatever his name is gonna come back.
I know that Horikoshi is setting up something really big to happen, which also makes me question whether the series is gonna end this year. I don't know why, out of all things, like they went to whatever the hell the lizard dude. It's just like
Yeah.
he's my last chance at survival. It's just like I understand that that he doesn't know that All for One is using the Airy quirk to reverse and just like try to save the day.
But like, I don't. It looks like he grew in size or something. But I'm like, literally his quirk was just to be like a gecko or something. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he got given quirks or something. But I'm like, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot he could do.
He got the big quirk, the huge quirk, but that's about it. I mean, maybe we'll see next chapter he just like destroys people.
Exactly, or something. So it's like it's. I mean, at this point, still, it's like each week it's a
Deku,
waiting
dude,
game.
Deku.
Yeah.
Give me that power scale.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think My Hero is solid. Quick gloss through it, but
Yeah.
and onto the big one. Each week it is like Jujutsu Kaisen's the big
Oh
one.
yeah,
It's the whole reason we
Jujutsu Kaisen
started
is what
this.
we
But
focus on.
but
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Okay. Can we talk about number one? How quickly leaks go onto the internet? I think that we both just need to like make the deal that we cannot look at TikTok.
I don't look at leaks. Or anytime I see like spoilers for like chapter 101 or whatever, I'll just scroll through them, or not. I'll scroll past them.
But it's still just so hard to avoid it.
Exactly.
Like what is it? I already what is it? Like 3 videos down, I saw the panel of like all the like Todo, Nanami, Sukuna, and Gojo.
Yeah.
Just like it's like, oh, okay, I'm already seeing spoilers. That's how this is going.
But the good thing is, a lot of the time of those creators that do post the leaks is they post them with like Japanese text, like the direct leaks. So you're like, okay, I have no context of what's going on. Luckily,
I have no clue what they're saying.
Yeah, but I mean, this chapter is big. I just want to say I love that scene of Yuji like doing charades, like pantomiming. He's like, I am the disgraced, or Sukuna is inside me, disgraced one or whatever and stuff, and like
disgraced one inside.
Yeah,
me.
And then
try to look like Sukuna.
Yeah, and then you got the comedy dude being like, "Yo, this guy's funny and stuff," and then like Angel just being like, "Okay, what? This guy's insane."
Yeah.
But
well, like the whole thing is that Angel is looking away. That's why he moved his seat so that he's not. Even though that I don't think Angel or Hana would be able to see what is going on.
Because when they see, like when he gets pulled in, it does look like Yuji's eyes are rolled back or something. Like he's just like completely out of it. But like they could just think like, oh, he's just exhausted. He's like passed out or something. He's just, he's
a little tired.
Exactly. So it's like
his stomach hurts.
Yeah. So I think, our predictions, I mean, for somewhat were right. We said it was just, I mean, I remember I said it was just going to be like a little bit more of just Sukuna and Yuji talking, which it was, like for a panel or two.
Yeah, we got like, I'm the disgraced one.
Yeah, and just restating that. And then whatever Kenjaku's doing, dude, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like we made some jokes.
My man
but like
is very fun.
Yesterday, but I'm not going to say
I also just want to talk about the community because I still see a few people freaking out by the fact that like Yuji is willing to sacrifice himself to let Gojo be free, and people are surprised by that fact.
He's always been like that, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So people are like, "What? No way!" It's like, of course he's going to be sacrificial when it comes to it.
Do people not remember that scene of like when Sukuna switches at the end of Shibuya and he's just like the creator and he's like, just die already, let me die or something like that.
Exactly.
So I'm like, okay, I'm not saying the community's like stupid, but I'm like, do people not pay attention to like
there's some people that are confused. They should
that's the word,
reread and get better context.
Yeah. Because I think context is the big part too that people aren't getting maybe. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean that whole wrap up, and then I mean Kenjaku, because like I don't know if he's still gonna do the bomb that everyone thought he was gonna do.
Or he's
just gonna be like, okay, U.S. government, come and take all these sorcerers.
Yeah, we're sending the U.S. Army into the Culling Games. Like that's the bit. Like okay, well, I shouldn't say that that's what is happening right now, but that's definitely what it seems like if they
Yeah.
just added in 807 players.
Oh yeah, because they
It's
added more players too.
yeah, which I'm assuming is just members of different armies joining in to like capture these citizens and optimize them,
Mm-hmm.
which leads back all the way to like when Kenjaku is talking to Yuki and it's just like it uh it requires optimizing curse energy, using all of it,
Yeah.
using Gojo as the US battery. He could power a whole nation.
Yeah, so I think and I mean the whole part of him talk, I kind of really enjoyed that part of like him talking with like the president and like the scene of like the president taking on and off the glasses and like seeing all like the oh my god, those I hate bugs and those disgusting. That was disgusting to read. I hate bugs. And back to Zero, that scene when like when Ghetto keeps pulling out the bugs was nasty, dude. I hated watching that and reading that. But it was a great scene to read and watch, but
yeah.
I'm excited to see.
I love their takes. It's like, is this AR? Is this VR? What's going on?
Well, then we get Hanamine or whatever. Not Hanamine. You whatever the you girl that was like Sukuna's only friend was there, and she's like passed out. She's like, please take one. Like the snacks and like the glasses. So you just see more of her. I definitely do want to see more of her too, because I think she's would be, it's like. It's like what I said last week, like about my like Broken Ronin thing about the Miwa. Like, dude, she was like Sukuna's like only friend or like assistant. Why? I mean, we already saw in Shibuya that she can just freeze people.
Exactly. Like, why has he not killed her?
Yeah. So we'll just have to see. I mean, it's just I mean, like Chainsaw Man and stuff. It's just a waiting game now to just kind of see what's like the plot is going to reveal itself more. And it took a completely different change than we thought was going to happen. I thought it was gonna. I mean, it is kind of like everyone like the colonies condensing into one, and everyone meeting back up, and then figuring, okay, well, this is how we're gonna get blah 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 and whatever. Like, I don't think. I mean, we will still get to see like that reunion of like everyone, the Jujutsu High group, and all the new allies they made. But I think it's gonna be a little bit longer before we actually get to see that.
Yeah. Well, like, what is it? We really just can't predict what's gonna happen next chapter. Besides, hopefully they go back to present day Culling Games.
Yeah, like, are we sure like Fujimoto and Gege didn't swap stories for the week? Because like Fujimoto was like so unpredictable the last few chapters, and now it's Gege's thing. Like, are they just like taking like oh yeah, you can have the week that's like you can have the unpredictable week this week.
We're gonna have foreign powers invade Japan on this week's chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen.
But yeah, like JJK's get big. I mean, our big thing we said, we want something big to happen for 200.
Yeah.
Something big happened. It wasn't what we
talked
expected.
about it. What is it? The Honored Ones podcast.
I still
Cream,
I need to
Creams just kept on saying like we need Kenjaku for chapter 200.
I need to listen to that this week. I need to listen to it before we record too, so I can get some more things we can just piggyback off what they say.
Yeah.
But
we're gonna be the better podcast.
They're the inspiration behind this too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like JJK was super big this week too. I mean. It was really fun to read. It was a great read.
It's good seeing These are good setup chapters. Like that's the if I'm gonna be criticizing things between Fujimoto and Gege, is that like Gege's getting straight to the point with this setup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess Fujimoto is at the same time, but it's just not as exciting. You don't have the President of the United States. You don't have Donald Trump wearing AR glasses. Trying to use Gojo as a battery.
Huge curses.
What did you say?
You say we put on these glasses and see these huge monsters. But yeah, and I mean, maybe with how it's going with like also like in the time frame, I know it's like probably been like a bit since Shibuya. What when did Kenjaku? How? Like, if society's fall apart, how did he get to America, dude? That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, this was in February of
Oh!
2018. This was even before. So that's
This is
kind
why I
of the
should have
weird
reread it
thing with
before we
the
recorded.
context.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the weird thing with the context is that the events of like the what is it, current JJK haven't even happened yet. So we don't, or maybe it has, but I don't think that it has. But it's confusing because there's footage of Sukuna, even though that he technically shouldn't have been reincarnated yet through Yuji.
Mm-hmm.
So this is all like he set this up. Like he talked to the president basically a year earlier, and just like, so you should invade Japan on after October 31st of this year.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Kenjaku's giving off such Aizen energy, which I love. I'm happy to see that. So, JJK
No,
was.
do not know.
Yeah, it was perfect. This week, I mean, like we got so much to look forward to this week, dude. And then can I just go off on a little tangent? I'm not gonna like fully say stuff, but like Bleach. Oh my god, dude, it was so good this week. I was so happy it came out.
I know I
Finally.
see a lot of hype behind
Oh
it.
my gosh. And it's like trending too. It's like Ichigo and Bleach are like the top trending things on Twitter, like top searched items too, which I'm really happy about. And yeah, because I saw this thing that like a bunch of the cast took a poster to like a shrine to get it blessed for like good luck on the series. It was like, oh, you don't need that. The series is gonna flop. And I'm like, no, this just proved it.
I think it would flop.
And like,
You
well, not
kidding
flop
me?
level, but like it's not gonna do as well as people. And like the animation too was like on par with like anime movie level. I would say not like movie level, more like all those like really well done. Excuse me, those really well done like anime commercials and stuff you see. I'd say it's like on par with that stuff, which is really good to see. Because then that's setting that and Chainsaw Man especially are gonna be setting the bar really high for like.
But yeah,
Animation of like shonen.
I'm just waiting for JJK season 2 is gonna look even better than the
dude.
first one.
Mappa animators, you don't need to see your families. We want more.
What family? There's no family. It's only animation.
Your family is Jujutsu Kaisen. But
Mappa worker just saying Denji is my family.
Yeah.
I'm friends with Denji.
Exactly.
I'm friends with power.
But yeah, dude, like especially Mappa's setting the bar really high. Of course, we've got some really good stuff to look forward to. I mean, a few other series are going to be starting soon, which will be really interesting to see. That I'm excited for.
Oh yeah, we're also gonna be. I'm sorry, I need to take a break. I took a break on Bleach this week. I did not catch
He read
up
Dawn
to
to
it
Dawn
on time. Well, I'm just to whoever fans cared. I'm so sorry. I know that people are also going to be mad about this. I literally paused right at the start. Well, at least I don't know if this is the start of the fight between Byakuya and Ichigo, but I'm on the bridge where they meet.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Yeah. I think that's a good spot to take a break. Because then you transition, I would have been saying is the Soul Society is pretty slow, and then you get to like the Kenpachi fight, which is really good. But yeah, you still have some. Then I think that scene is really when the quality of like, because people like to put the Soul Society arc in part 1 and 2. I don't know where they put the cutoff for part 1, but part 1 is I would say very slow, and then picks right up, and because then you start seeing more of the captains, you start seeing more of like Chad and everyone fighting, so. Yeah, I'm very excited for you to keep reading. Hopefully, after you read more of Dawn to Dawn, but
yes, Peak, another form of Peak. It's actually so good, Max. You need to read it.
That's one. And then I was like on a whim this week. I was like, okay, well, I went through my Annie list of like the stuff I was reading. I'm like, okay, what's like I haven't kept up on? I'm like, okay, well. I went through, I looked at a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, like, Komi Can't Communicate. I caught up with, like, the 5 chapters I was behind, and a few others. But I did actually start Hell's Paradise. I mean, like, 20 chapters in, it's actually goated, though.
Wait, where'd you start it? Is it on
I just pirated it. No, I couldn't get it working on, like, the web browsers. So, little context for everyone. I'm not a big person on buying physical copies, because then what if I don't like it? I have a whole
Yeah.
part of my shelf of my anime shelf dedicated to like 1 and 2 of like a series I bought that like I kind of not regret buying, but like was like, okay, well, I didn't fully like it, or I haven't got around to reading it. But so I will usually try and support the online productions. Kodansha, I will say, a lot of stuff I've read from Kodansha does not have an app or a website to read digitally, which I hate. Kodansha, if you're listening to this, you Kodansha execs, you can hear me. I know you can. Make a website or an app, dude. Like
I will shill. I will literally just. We can change this all to Kodansha. If you literally just make an app
the
about it.
Kodansha podcast.
Exactly. We'll just review Attack on Titan for 10 episodes straight until the next Vinland Saga chapter comes out, and then just talk about that.
It did come. There was one that came out this month of Vinland Saga. I know you're not caught up with Vinland Saga, but it was a big one too. But yeah, Kodansha, like, please. There's so much stuff. But my issue is, since, you know, I couldn't get to work on the Viz website, it was, like, really weird, and I couldn't read it. And I'm like, okay. And then also, like, I've tried to read stuff through the Viz web browser. It's so ass, dude.
It is really bad.
It is. So I'm like, okay.
But you'll persevere if you do
exactly.
it with
So I just, like, you know,
is so good.
exactly. I'm like, okay. So then I just went on, and I'm like, okay, well, like, where can I read it? And I just Googled, like, you know, Hell's Paradise read free or whatever, and then first one that came up, I'm like, okay, I hope I'm not getting a virus on my phone or whatever.
I'd also like to say we would love to fully support these creators in any way that we can.
Exactly.
The issue is just the fact of it's hard to access without like buying the volumes physically, and then like again, also if we don't enjoy it, we can't do anything about it. Like even Shonen Jump, they give you the first, like on the app, it gives you the first 3 chapters,
and then like the
before
3
you
most
buy
recent
a
chapters
subscription.
too. It's weird how they do it.
Yeah.
I will say, pirating is not like the first thing I go to. It is a last resort. I read a few if I like it, and then if I like it enough that I'll start collecting it then to support the creator more. So
we like to say also, please support the creators.
Exactly,
because these people work very hard for very little pay and very hard
I did a whole
contracts that
report
they
on
have to deal with. And we get peak out of it. We're basically just extorting people at the end of the day. A little bit of money does not hurt.
Yeah,
Also,
and that's
the
all
volumes are
something
just,
we
like,
could
cool
even
to
like.
have.
I wrote a whole report, like my last spring semester. Like I think you've read part of it, Nick. But like on like the manga industry, and I mean it was originally about like how the comic book industry is dying because of the manga industry. But like I wrote a whole like page and a half or something about, you know, manga creators and how they're just screwed over all the time and stuff. So that's something if people are interested in, we can also talk about as well in another one. Just like take a break from chapters and talk about the industry itself. But we're getting way off topic. But that's fine.
Well, like it's fine.
Yeah.
Just another example is that the guy. So what is it? Ichiro Oda, the person that writes One Piece, he sees his family once a month, and it's not due to the fact that he can't see them. It's the fact is that if he sees them for too long, he loses the will to write and finish One Piece. He purposely restricts himself from seeing his family because he knows and realizes how much time he has put into writing manga and how much it drains from having an actual life.
And it's sad to see. I mean, it could also be part of it is just also like the work ethic in Japan of just like putting in overtime and just overtime being like norm and stuff. It could be that. That's all kind of work. But it's like, it's so much different from the U.S. comic book industry too, which is kind of interesting. It's just very interesting to look at, and I mean, something we'd love to talk more about. But yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Hell's Paradise is good so far. 20 chapters in. I recommend. I can see why people like are throwing it in with like the new gen like Dark Trio stuff. So it is dark. It's pretty good.
The same thing with what is it? Dawn to Dawn.
Dawn to Dawn. Yeah.
Dawn to Dawn is so good.
Yeah, that's one on my list. I have one that like, what is it? It's called Die Dark. I picked up the first volume because I liked the cover. That was it. But that one looked interesting too. So yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of stuff. If there's a week we want to take off of talking about the weekly stuff, we can talk about some stuff we can just do a whole episode on what we've currently been reading, what we think of it,
Yeah.
what's our plans to read or watch later. But yeah, we've got plenty of options for the future. And I mean, this has been a great episode too, talking with Connor and then talk about the new chapters. It's been, I will say, this winter season of anime and manga, we have been eating good. Like this is so,
we're
like,
gonna be getting some good stuff.
this winter, and I guess fall too, has been a great season too. And I mean, a lot to look forward to, a lot. It's perfect. So
Yeah.
this
Anyways.
week, I think we're kind of just
Should we end it
running
off?
on right now. So this is a good point. Thank you so much as always for making it to the end of the
Thank you
episode.
for watching.
As
Thank
always, I've
you.
been your host Max, and I'm always joined
I've
with.
been. Sorry.
No, you're
We
fine.
messed that up hardcore, my man.
But
Anyways.
yeah, we've been your
What is it?
host, and we've been
enjoying
talking. I mean, we've been talking with you, but we'd love hearing. I mean, if there's anything you want us, the 20 people watching, and hopefully more.
Yes.
If there's anything you want us to see us talk about, what you want us to change, anything like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's
We'd
so
love
much
to
more we can
hear.
do with this podcast too, just putting it under the title
Yeah.
Shonen Jump. So
Yeah.
there's so much we can talk about. So thank you so much for joining,
Yeah.
and we look forward to next week where we have even more to talk about.
Yeah.